Uh-huh. Alright, looks like I've already missed out on the chat. Let's pop that chat out so I can actually see what people are saying. Perhaps I shouldn't really. Good evening, everybody. Yes, we are late. Late to get to, and after trying to find the driver for that, I realised this. I knew this was a 1278, which means it has Phillips head drives, screws, which means I do not need the Bizarro Pentalobe to undo the bottom panel. But of course I only remember that after I've just spent the last couple of minutes looking for the Pentalobe driver. That's the way it goes. A civil up from soggy New York. Greg? It's a shame, Greg. That really is actually a shame. Would be nice to have you around a little more, Greg. Instead you just flitter in and flitter out. I haven't even tested this one yet, so I'm really not sure what I'm going to encounter under this panel. Okay, it doesn't look too severe, at least initially. Yeah, famous last words perhaps. Alright, so battery off. This is a 3115. Yep. We'll just get everything, well, most things disconnected. So we've got a missing screw down here, but that's not a big issue. We'll switch over to MagSafe 1, which I know is hiding out in here somewhere. Come on, MagSafe 1, there you are. It's 18 and 5. Ed, Steve. Seven milliamps. And nothing much else. 7 milliamps. Supposedly it's a... We'll try it the other way as well. 7 milliamps. Alright, well, that's certainly something. As in it's not anything at all. Which means it's something. Let's get this board out and have a look, see what's going on. Given how comparatively clean this 3115 looks, I'm quite curious. It could well be not so much electric. I lost my screw. I lost my screw. There we go. There might, I don't know, been a shock through or something. I guess we'll see. We'll see. And at this point, I am reminded that these actually take the T6. I used a T5 by accident, but it is actually a T6 for doing these machines. Okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It always seems to take forever to find all the torque screws on these boards. Just when you think you've got them all, there's that one extra that you forgot about. Yeah, it could be a bad cap one. Yep. Like I said, the customer does mention liquid damage, but it could also be just simply incidental. Okay, they're missing the battery flex. Well, it's certainly not there at the moment. Of course. Must always remember to... Alright, they've got this mixed up a bit. The screw that I'm taking out now from the screen retainer is actually meant for the MagSafe. The screen retainer, I've got plenty of the ones for the screen retainer, so we'll fix that up later. Screen cable retainer, I should say. Oh, did they pinch into the MagSafe cable? And looks like this keyboard's... Oh, that's funny. Alright, so they've replaced the keyboard or something like that, and the backlight film, but they haven't actually taken the blue adhesive layer off the back. No, not the... Yeah, so you're supposed to take this blue stuff off, and then it will stick down, but... Unfortunately, if I want to do that now, I have to take this DVD assembly out. But, yeah, interesting. Interesting oversight. You can't very well trust those MagSafes either, even if you buy them new and they've got a nice little stamp on them. Half of them are still duds. You essentially do have to, when you get them, you have to test them. There's no other way. Alright, time to dive in, have a look, and see what the microscope might reveal. Time to take the glasses off. Now, things are going to be perhaps a little bit dimmer tonight, but we'll see. Well, certainly not there. That's better. Okay, alright, yep, there's all our liquid damage. Yep, and one of the first things that jump out to me here is the RTC 3v3 cap is corroded. So that could well and truly be a problem. There is a lot of corrosion on here. It's not the worst, but it's very typical. And nicely corroded cap there, bad cap there. Yep, yeah, yeah, okay, now we're getting unfortunate. Always corroded there and there. So this has been living in a humid environment, so it's very normal. Tell me if you find the new microscope view better or worse to what you're anticipating. I'm hoping it's better. I do Windows laptop repairs. In fact, I've got one in the oven at the moment. Okay, we've got corrosion going through that pad there. Right, that one there, that's part of Sys1 wire. SMC is probably going... maybe we can get away with it? I don't know. Jeez. It's pretty classic bottom edge corrosion damage around here. I guess we'll just go through and clean up what we can and see what happens. See if we are getting 342 at least, but you know, this is Thunderbolt section, so it's not going to play a part. I'm just going to check the 342 generation. Yeah, Miles, that's about right. Clean up in all the aisles. No aisle misses out. Michael, no, it's not actually a larger view. It's just that I've got a circular polarizer on it now. Hey, it's this sleep is overrated until you need desperately sleep, and then it's very important. No, somehow or another we are still on frequency. That was from work earlier in the day. I could have actually just kept it on there because I need to check my RTC clock. Okay, so we don't even have 342. What about our input? We do get 18 volts in, 18 volts out of the diode. Just checking VIN. Yeah, so 18 volts on VIN. And enable's driven as well as turn on. Enable and turn on are driven both by that. So if we're, yeah, pin 6. So for whatever reason we're not generating 342, or we're trying to generate 342 and it can't generate 342 because of a short of some sort. So we'll check diode mode on the output. And we have a short on the output of 342. So 342, a short on that can often be SMC, can also be a couple of other things. But SMC is a fairly common cause of short of 342. Yeah. That's the whale of the crying SMC. It could also be one of the support caps, decoupling caps. I'm not even sure I'm going to bother FLIR it because it's not actually, it's shutting down, so I can't really actually see what's going on. And it probably won't even be doing a heartbeat pulse. Okay, so these two caps here look pretty fine in my opinion. Let's see. Test points. And as you can see, like we move into this bottom edge area and you can see like this cap there, caps there, resistors. There's enough spots there that we saw before that were likely corroded that it's probably going to be something along there. It may be an SMC reball, but if I had to put money on something, I'd say it's this cap here. It just looks so bad that it's got to be it. And I'm almost certain I can see a crack in it. Yeah, there's several cracks in it. So let's go back to over microscope. Can't find the tweezers I want. School kid production, yes and no. I've got university background, but I also am, before that I was primarily self-taught, and I still am. You basically never stop learning. Yeah, let's see if that short's gone. Nope. Okay. I could have sworn that cap was going to be it. It looked nasty. That cap definitely looked nasty and definitely has cracks in it. But it's not shorted. That is quite amazing. Now, I think I'm going to have to adjust my microscope camera, so bear with me. I think that'll probably do it. No, we're not doing the FLIR yet. Like I said, we don't have enough current draw to make the FLIR something that we bring out. Okay, we also got, man, the BIOS is in trouble there. We also got this one looking pretty bad, but I don't know if that's... That one is not on our rail. This one up here is, but that's protected. It's actually surprisingly few caps. Okay, we do have up at U7000, but I'll be very Whoa, is that a burn mark? Is that a burn hole through the circuit board? Oh no, it's just a weird lighting effect. Well, that pretty much only leaves the SMC, which is very annoying. Very, very annoying. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of bad resistors and things like that, but like I said, we're chasing a short, not some random resistor issue. You've got to stay on target. If you don't stay on target, you can't fix things. At least not consistently. It's very easy to just jump around. But I'm not crisscross. I really feel like I need more air on this setting. Wow, that's hot. I feel like the 250 that I'm using here is, I'm going to have to crank it up to like 270 or something to get the same sort of effect as what I was getting out of the Quick. Because I should have had this corner bonding off well and truly by now. Right, we're probably going to find it's not the SMC. But I'm sure it will satisfy a great deal of the masochists on this channel to see the SMC come on up. Yeah, let's prepare for another beep. Bugger. It was the SMC. Oh well. Considering that I redid a M1 PMIC this morning, SMC hopefully shouldn't pose too much of an issue. The PMIC chips on the M1 motherboards, they're basically like iPhone CPUs in terms of their pitch size now. Steve, there's a lot of bits and pieces around here that look like complete crap, but I'm focusing on the SMC right now. We'll get that sorted out and then we will go back over and clear out things that additionally look bad. Right now, you know, we've cleared the apparent short, and so we'll get that task knocked off and then we'll go and chase our side quests after that. Stay on target. Oh wow, actually it's off. Huh. Miles, I don't mind the 3217s. The big problem with the PMICs is that they're a big chip. Relatively big chip. Yeah, they're not the biggest. They're not as big as an iPhone CPU. They're around about 75% of the size. But they're pretty straightforward to reball. I didn't have any dramas. The only thing is they are a fairly thin chip, so you do want to be careful. Yeah, you don't want to rough it up too much. And I have heard talk of the fact that the PMIX might be encoded to the board, so you really don't want to make a mess of it. We're talking 21st century classic here, not 20th century classic. Okay, to be fair, 68Ks did extend into, what was it, 2007 was it? 2008? And then Intel did the change, well, Apple did the change to Intel. Okie doke. Alright, now I've got to get myself another SMC. And just the other day I extracted one. You saw me when I was playing with the Atom hot air station. And you think for the life of me I can remember where I put that damned SMC? Oh, I found it. That's a rare stroke of luck. Looks delightful. Alright, now I've got to find my holder board. Ah, there it is. Unfortunately, my holder board is a little bit messy. It hasn't been in the ultrasonic cleaner for a few weeks, which is rather bad of me. Yeah, we just have to clean that up, scrape the junk off it, get some leaded down, all those sort of things. Joshua Bell, I mean, the Atom seems fine, or the BST clone of the Quick seems to be tolerable as well. I wouldn't go any lower than that. Definitely do not get the ones with the blower in the handle, not unless you want to have a living hell life. Oh, I know the one I should suggest. There is a Quick that has a proper blower in the body, as in the main chassis, but it's only about $60, $70, maybe $80. Definitely worth getting. I forget the number of it, but they have it on the, what do you call it, Union Repair site. It's a vertically compact unit, or I should say horizontally compact. I can't remember the number of it, but it has the blower in the body. It's got a pot for temperature and a pot for air volume. It's got no memories, nothing like that. I would suggest that one if you were genuinely going for complete budget options. All the others will just waste your money and time and break your stuff, especially the blower and handle ones, because what happens with those is they supposedly have a very high temperature, but they don't impart enough thermal energy out of the nozzle onto the board, so you end up baking the surface of your circuit board and the chips rather than reflowing things. Hey Pianov. Pianov, have you directed that person to stick to their own fork? I'm not sure on the legalities. They sort of said they put an option there to make it optional to load the Poplar library, but I would have thought just by having the headers in it, doesn't that essentially violate the license? 857 DW, I think that's it, yeah. Okay, I have to take this out, wash it, and also wash this whole area in here because we do not want too much flux in the area. Because what will happen is if you have too much flux in here, as you heat up everything to reflow it, the flux just sort of it comes up and it bobbles in between the stencil and the chip, and it just basically makes things very bad and causes the chip to pop off, not the chip, the stencil to pop off, and basically ruin your reballing attempt. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect here, but yeah, you don't want excess. Pretty sure being optional doesn't change anything to the license requirements. Right, so you're saying it is still technically, by the fact that it is even part of the project, effectively violates the license. Hey, Prater. Only LGPL, yeah, okay, yeah, and which is fortunately, I am thankful for the fact that LGPL exists. It does allow us to get away with things, or it does allow us to do certain things, but yeah, normal GPL, basically, I will not, there is a bubble, damn it, there is a bubble on this SMC. See if you can see it. You see that bubble? Now this SMC possibly could work, but because this is a board that's, you know, for an actual customer repair, I am not going to use that. As far as I'm concerned, given that I've got plenty of 3115s, I hope, that is a bin job. That's a bit of a shame. I put effort into cleaning that up. No, that bubble was a different... That was a chip I pulled off the other day from another dead board. So in this particular case, that is not what was wrong. I'm just going through my box of goodies to see if I've got another 3115 that I've already removed. If I haven't, I'll just take it from another board. But it's good for me to check to see if I've got any that I've extracted previously. Okay, none in that particular box. I do have another container with supposed spare parts. There we go. Shave the bubble off. If I shave that bubble off, it will destroy the chip. 2915s. You're right, I probably don't have any 3115 pre-pulled ones. 3115 SMC. Ooh, maybe. Looks possible. All we can do is try it. I might put it in a different recess so I don't mess up the one I just cleaned. Ach, niemand. Sometimes the bubbles are actually because of doing what I'm doing now. Once more, we're going to wash it. Yeah, that's not a bubble, that is just a slightly larger ball. We'll have to get rid of that ball because we are going to be using pre-made balls. Looks like there's a couple on there actually. So we'll have to do the wash over again, damn it. Oh well, these things happen. 600. Oh, definitely wasn't using 600. Not today. Yeah, I got that other one. Okay, I think we're good now. Oh, there's one in the middle there. I can get away with that. It's ever so slightly high, but it's not terribly high. It's within the range of tolerable. Alright. So since it's been a while since I've done a reball on video, I guess I'll describe the steps as they go. Essentially what we do, this is the 2-ball, no tape, pre-made ball stencil process. Some people prefer to use paste. For SMCs I prefer to use, well, for these SMCs I prefer to use pre-made balls. For the smaller SMCs that you get on, say, like the 840, 875, yeah, the newer machines, the USB-C type machines, for those machines I use paste. So there you go. People who say, you should be using paste. It's like, well, I actually do use both. It just depends on the job. Because instead of just picking a tool and saying, I'm only going to use this tool because this tool is the greatest, I prefer to go, well, this tool works for this job, so I'm going to use it for this job. 0.35. Where's the rest of my 0.35s? Oh, crikey. Little Johnny 0.35 bottle of balls has run away from the container that normally contains him. Which means he could be anywhere, absolutely anywhere, running around in this room. Yeah, that's going to be a real nuisance. So I'm just going to try and find Mr. 0.35 Johnny in the usual places, like the ice cream parlor, the arcade game parlor. Let's see. The dump. Back alleys. Crack vending machines. Ah, come on, 35, where are you? I genuinely wish not to try and pour out 0.35 from the main container. That is just going to be a disaster waiting to happen if I do that. Every time I try to reorganize this room, something happens and I never quite complete the process. So I have this perpetual state of, well, lack of state, as it were. Right, can't find the 35. And that's distinctly distressing. I used to have it all in a little tray, and then one day I said, I don't need the tray. And I guess that was the start of my downfall, wasn't it? And you can't use 0.3 and you can't use 0.4. It has to be 0.35 with these particular stencils. I'll just get my bag of sarin juice out of the way. It is going to turn up somewhere dumb, and I'm going to go, oh. But that is certainly frustrating. Yet another frustration. So this is my big container of 0.35. I think it's got 250,000 balls in there. I can guarantee you if I try to pour those out, I will end up with maybe 100,000 left in there. Anyway, we'll put the corner ones on, because there's a couple of old floaters sitting around on the board, on this stencil thingy. You are not stuck on, there you go. I saw another one, it's too big. Alright, so the two corners are on. That way we're not going to need to use tape to hold our stencil down. So that saves us some fiddliness. Now the interesting thing here is that I've got a new hot air station, so my estimation of how things are going to perform may well end up being completely wrong. That's a good start. Now, at this point, I need to work out what to do about my balls. I'm trying to think the best way to not completely stuff it up. I'm going to use a post-it note, appropriately fold it, So I'm going to end up this little chute. And believe me, we really don't need many at all. Times like this I should really have, if you ever have done chemistry and you're working with dry chemicals, you get those chemical dispensing spatulas. They're the ideal thing to use for these scenarios. So I might try use one of my spudges. It's similar enough to a chemical dispenser. We'll see. The only problem is it's not, yeah, it's a bit of a rounded profile on it. That is a very messed up spudger. Getting cleaner. Normally it would not be taking this long, but like I said, we do have technical difficulties we're having to overcome. Yeah, these things are so seemingly frictionless. Okay, I've got way too many there. Holy shoot. Alright, now the fun part is we've got to add a couple of drops of, that'll do, IPA, and then slide in our few more. Yeah, okay, that's plenty. And then to get them in, we just give it a little bit of a rub-a-dub-dub. Spin the stencil in the middle for this last step and you just wipe them off like that. Simple as that. We've got one hole there, not filled. And we're good. Okay. Now we just do the reflow. It's a two-step reflow process. I'm just not sure. So I'm going to go 330. I might drop down to about 30% air because I don't know how strong the air is on this yet. The first part of the process is we actually end up heating up the whole stencil and the chip. And we just wait for those. See how all of they're shiny at the moment. We've got to wait for them to start just going a little bit on the matte side. So I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen because this is a new hot air station. Okay, we're starting to, you can see them going matte now, and it's kind of jumped the gun on the process that I was going for. And one ball's been yanked out from somewhere. I see where. There we go. And now we can do the full. I don't know if this is going to pop out or not, because typically what will happen is if you do it right, the heat of the SMC and the stencil will make sure that the flux that you apply gets sufficiently melty, the viscosity becomes just right, that there won't be so much flux in there. Okay, see, it wasn't hot enough, and we've got excess flux in the stencil combination, and it's causing the balls to pop out a little bit. It's not as bad as it can be, but essentially the two-step process is to get the stencil and the chip hot enough that when you apply that little bit of flux on it, it magically makes sure it's only a very thin layer, which prevents the pop-out problem which a lot of people suffer when it comes to reballing SMCs. Okay, now there's a couple here that didn't take. Let that one there. That one there. And all you gotta do is just tap them. Quite a few didn't take. Like I said, I've still got to get used to this particular hot air station. And you see when you've tapped them and you add a bit more heat, they will pretty much usually find their way back. Probably didn't help that I didn't clean this up properly. Okay, so they went back to place. I don't think there's any more that... Oh, there's one there. Normally I only get about 1 or 2 that need to be tapped back in. This one was a few more than that. Okay, we're good. I'm just trying to find the tool I like to use for separating this. Everything's out of whack at the moment, and this has probably gone cold on me. I don't know, fortunately it's got enough heat still in it. There we go, perfect. And yeah, you lose a couple of balls, but then you do under normal circumstances anyway. And of course in this particular instance I wasn't using the dispenser that I normally like to use, so the wastage was a little higher. In most cases previously, when I had my little container that I knew how to use, the wastage factor was I'd like maybe have 10-15 balls wasted. I've done this technique quite a lot of times and it's very reliable, and I will not be changing from it unless something truly magical comes along. Like I said, using pre-made balls for this particular chip is the option that I take. For the smaller SMCs, I use paste. And you're probably wondering why I'm getting all emphatic about that. It's because the number of comments I get, why don't you use paste for that, or whatever. Yeah, it's honestly, a lot of the time when it comes to videos, people are waiting for you to breathe so they can tell you what they didn't listen to. So they're not there to, yes, people just love to jump in with their magical solution. And that's great, you know, if they've got their magical solution, but it doesn't mean that someone else's magical solution isn't also great. We need to clean up the pads, and then we need to put down a very thin, fresh layer of solder, what do you call it, flux, that's the stuff. Alright, I've got a bit of junk there, so I might have to heat that up. I'm not sure if it's old flux or whether it's part of the edge bonding. Honestly, it could be both. In this case, it was flux. B-blood, I prefer not to put the balls back in because inevitably they pick up bits of trash. And then when you put them back in, they've got bits of trash, it makes them clump together. Or they jam up a stencil. So it's a small loss really. And I think it's better to, for me anyway, I prefer to not recycle the balls that have been utilised. Right, need some heat here. Like I said, I mean, yeah, some people are more than happy to do that, but I find you only have to get the smallest amount of flux. Yeah, one or two of them pick up a little bit of flux, and then you've got this cluster in your recycled, in your what is supposed to be pristine container of ready-to-use ones. Yeah, there's a flat spot, flat spot. Like I said, it comes down to personal choice. Like some people love to flood the SMC with flux when they put it back down. I prefer not to. I'm also getting stupidly pedantic here, and it's not a good thing. Damn it, because I just keep doing that. Just keep doing dumb stuff. And then when I do the dumb stuff, I'm like, right, I've got to lift that up and have another look now.